Those three children abandoned in that apartment complex. Their mother and her boyfriend have been arrested in that. We're going to get an update on that case right now from Fox 26's Domely Keith. Domely, good to see you on this Friday. What do we know today? What's been happening in this story?
Hey there, Andrew. Yeah, Gloria Williams had a bond hearing today, and her bond was raised to more than $1.5 million. But also in that court hearing today, it came out that Williams and her boyfriend, Brian Coulter, were able to rent that second apartment for themselves, according to the prosecutor, thanks to government assistance Williams was receiving for little Kendrick Lee even after he was killed. While none of Gloria Williams' family members were here in court for her latest bond hearing, the founder of Parents Against Predators was.
She don't deserve a bond. She don't deserve food, clothes, nothing, because her kids had nothing. She don't deserve anything. She deserved to rot in jail.
And that's where Williams remains, in jail. Her bond has now been increased from $900,000 to $1,550,000.
The judge did take into consideration all of the factors and took a special focus on community safety because this is such an egregious case.
Williams is charged with injury to a child by omission and tampering with a corpse for the death of her son, Kendrick Lee. Investigators say Williams' boyfriend, Brian Coulter, beat the 8-year-old to death, and they say Williams not only knew it, but lived with her son's rotting corpse for months before leaving her 3 sons living alone with their brother's skeletal remains.
I don't want her to be painted in the same light as the co-defendant, but she is the mother.
Williams is also charged with serious bodily injury to a child after detectives say Coulter beat Williams' 10-year-old son, leaving him with a wound in his jaw that became so infected he had to have reconstructive surgery after the 3 brothers were rescued last month. Prosecutor Andrea Bell says Williams was receiving $2,000 a month for 3 of her children who are disabled, including little Kendrick. Bell says Williams used that money to pay for the apartment she and Coulter lived in, which had food and furniture, while the apartment Williams' sons lived in had neither. So was Williams also being abused?
At this point, I can't comment about that.
Williams' attorney has held that title for just 5 days and says he too is seeking answers.
I think there's more to this case than what meets the eye.
Now, Coulter, who is being held on a $1 million bond, is charged with capital murder. And Andrew, the Harris County District Attorney, Kim Ogg, she hasn't yet announced if her office will seek the death penalty.
Domely, this is we keep getting more grisly details as more comes to light in this story. I wanted to go back to one point. So you mentioned that the boyfriend and the mother, Williams, were in a separate apartment. Was that in the same complex? And they used federal housing assistance to pay for that. Is that correct?
That's right, Andrew. That's according to prosecutors. No, according to prosecutors, little Kendrick Lee was beaten to death by Coulter last November of 2020. And according to investigators, Coulter and Kendrick's mom, Gloria Williams, lived in that apartment with the little boy's rotting corpse from November until March. And according to investigators, the couple moved out, leaving her 3 sons, ages 15, 7, and 10, living there with their little brother's skeletal remains. Supposedly, the little boys lived there from March until the 15-year-old was able to call 911 in November. And that's when they were living there with the skeletal remains of their brother. And also, according to investigators, now Coulter and Williams lived in an apartment complex about 25 minutes away from that apartment. And even the investigators say that this is so horrible, it's something that they've never even heard of.
Domely, when will we see the boyfriend in court again?
Well, his court date hasn't yet been set. His bond is at $1 million right now. Although bond had already been set for Gloria Williams, she was just given a new attorney, so her new attorney asked for another bond hearing, but yet another hearing hasn't been set yet for Brian Coulter.
All right, Fox 26's Domely Keith. We appreciate all these updates on this really, really tragic story out of Houston. We'll talk to you again.
Yeah. All righty.